Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to today's version of LinkedIn Live with the Keynote Curators. I'm Seth Dechtman. I'm the founder and president of the Keynote Curators and host of every Wednesday around the noon hour Eastern Time. We come to you live with the current trends, insights, and important topics to all things meeting planners, conference planners, event planners need to know about keynote speakers. Today, everybody's hearing about artificial intelligence and ChatGPT, and it's an important thing. It's an important topic. It's an important subject matter to understand. And we're getting saturated, overabsorbed, inundated with everything about artificial intelligence. But how, in our case, can meeting planners and event planners use artificial intelligence to their advantage in a way that makes sense, but still keeps the event, the content of the event, the attendees' experience as the main idea, as the protagonist? And that's our focus today. We want to be able to have meeting planners, conference planners, meeting planners, event planners, marketing and event professionals understand how to leverage and use artificial intelligence and ChatGPT for their events, whether it's the planning, whether it's the execution, the production, the creative aspect of it, in a way that's going to expand their capacities as a planner and ultimately providing an expanded and a more fortified, richer experience for their attendees. I'm reminded of when I first started out in the business over 20 years ago, working with keynote speakers and event planners, that the turn of the internet was focusing on e-commerce. And the hot topic, the hot trend, the hot subject matter of the moment was e-commerce, e-commerce. Everybody's got to get on the internet, get on the World Wide Web, and construct and form and execute some type of e-commerce component and have that be a mechanism of their business practice. And it's 20 years later, and e-commerce isn't even a term that's used anymore. It's just part of woven into everyday business practice. But the lesson to learn from that, on top of e-commerce, was everybody wanted a speaker on the internet and the World Wide Web. And then if you were a marketer, how to do search optimization and how to design the best websites. User experience was in its infancy. If I were to use a metaphor, it was the baby had not even been born yet. And people were running to those topics like moths to light, like ants to candy, like a magnet, and kind of shotgunning where anybody could get their hands on a speaker that could talk with some seeming authority about e-commerce, about the internet, about search engine optimization, searches, all those kind of things. It was so fresh and so young that anything and any speaker kind of went. A similar thing is occurring right now with ChatGPT and artificial intelligence. And here's what I want to say, especially to the meeting planners that are joining us and the event planners, the conference planners. And here's what I want to say to all of you. I want to say this to the meeting professionals. First and foremost, artificial intelligence and ChatGPT are a tool. It's one more tool in your arsenal that's going to provide you with an expanded capacity. It's going to help you improve creativity, planning, execution, marketing. It's another resource. So if you're a meeting professional, the first thing I urge you to do is relate to it as a resource. It is not the answer. The second thing is, how do you use it? This is a long learning curve. You have to be patient. You have to start small and go with baby steps. It's also not the answer. There's a thing that everybody calls a prompt, and it's simpler terms, it's called an instruction. You have to give the artificial intelligence bot, the ChatGPT, an instruction to then go out and render your results and then display them and use them to your advantage. There's a saying in the computer world, in programmer world, in coder world, garbage in, garbage out. Or said for us mere mortals in the computer world, the computer only does what you tell it to do. It's the same thing with artificial intelligence, albeit it's smarter, it's more intuitive, it can suggest, it can recommend, but in the end, it's only doing that based off of the prompts or the instruction that you give it. So the first thing is that it's a tool and a resource. The second thing is be thoughtful, be patient, take your time, think through the prompts and the instructions that you want to give it, and then review the results. The results will then tell you, was your instruction too narrow? Was it too broad? Did it emphasize a certain aspect of what you were looking for a result on? Do you want to re-emphasize it in another direction? So that you can then begin to calibrate what's going to be displayed in the results that you're going to get. Next, it's the human hand, the human touch, the human being. You have to take, I call it borrow, from the chat, from the results, from the prompt, and utilize, in many cases, you'll have to footnote it or you'll have to give an attribution to it, what works and corresponds for what you want to provide in whatever piece of a meeting plan or a conference plan or an event plan that you want to execute, whether it's the budget, whether it's an agenda, whether it's a food and beverage option that's very specific for a certain kind of dietary need that you want to be creative and think outside the box. ChatGPT would be a great option for that. Get the human hand on it. You don't want to overcommittee it, but maybe a second set of eyeballs, because they're not going to have that extra sixth or even seventh sense that the human being brings and understand some things innately that we might have forgotten to include in the inquiry with ChatGPT or artificial intelligence. For the conference attendees and for conference planners, the first step is understanding the capabilities, understanding that it's a tool, understanding how and when to use it, how and when to lean on it, and when to walk away from it. And then how is it going to improve the experience of your attendees at the conferences? Many meeting professionals, my partners, my clients, my collaborators are calling me and they want speakers on artificial intelligence and ChatGPT. And they're coming from every industry, from pharma, education, energy, mining, finance, banking, credit unions, construction. But it's not enough just to have somebody who might be a name and might be connected with a brand or a well-known company that can just go out and impress and talk about GBT or artificial intelligence and make some demonstrations and everybody goes ooh and ah. You have to have somebody that can create a context, create a frame with which that specific industry can begin to understand the possibilities of the tool, and then some direction and some orientation around how to best use it for their specific industry. It's not just a show and tell where, hey, I helped create this voice recognition software, which is artificial intelligence, or I was involved in this very well-known mapping project, which uses, artificial intelligence. And look at me and get impressed and okay, this is exposure. It's not enough. For the conference attendee and the conference planner, bring a keynote speaker in who can create context of understanding of this new technology, artificial intelligence, and then bring forth what the possibilities are for the specific industry that that conference is for, so that your attendees and yourself can walk away more empowered with greater capacity and a deeper understanding of how to use a new resource and a new tool to make their business objectives, their business initiatives, and their business goals move forward. And that's the gold that there is in artificial intelligence, and bringing in a keynote speaker that can address the best way that event planners and event attendees can use artificial intelligence. So those are my thoughts for today on the topic. This is not the last that you're going to hear about it. We're going to continue. We're going to show more examples in the future. Stay tuned every Wednesday for more tips and more trends and more subject matter on all things keynote speakers. Remember, I'm Seth Dechtman. I'm your keynote curator. Thanks for joining us today. We're here every Wednesday. If you want to reach out, you can do it on our website, thekeynotecurators.com. You can find us on our YouTube channel, on LinkedIn, other platforms as well. Direct message us or give us a call. I appreciate you being with us. I thank you for your time today, and I know that you've been smarter for it. Have a great rest of the day.